Welcome back to our Splunk series, and now we are going to go to the part 2, which is the filters and queries. So filtering by time is one of the key functions of the log searches, and the Splunk gives us a robust time picking ability to help with this. So the simplest way to filter Splunk searches by time is to use the timeline view at the top of the search results, which is right here. So by simply mousing over one of the time intervals, you can see the count of events for that day, and you can pick even a time frame like couple days. So let's go and see how this works. So in this task, it provides us a search term, like a phrase that we can look into. So it says to look for failed password for root in the Splunk, and I'm assuming it's for all. Actually, what date is provided? The May 7th. Okay, actually the May 6th. Okay, they provide here the details. So we can go and look for this particular time frame. So here it says to select all time, and we'll filter by the phrase. Failed password for root, and you can see we have here this time frames, right? Timelines. So for example, if you look for a particular date, you see when I'm hover over a particular date, it shows me the date and the count of those events. And you can also pick like a range, and in our task it has to provide a range of 4 days starting with May 6. So that's May 6, and if I'm clicking on it and dragging, I can drag and get a time frame like of 4 days right now. And if I want to deselect, I'll just click deselect, and it will bring me back to the same just hovering capability. So let's go do this task as they asked us to select for the 4 days since May 6th and see how many events. So you can see like here is 7,282 events overall that contains failed passwords for root, but for this particular time frame we have just 1,005 events. So what IP address was seen on the last event of the May 2? So I guess I can on deselect, and I'll look for the May 2 events. So here's May 2, I click on it, I select this particular date, and the last event always will be on top. So if I look at the last event in here, and it asks me to provide the IP address, right? IP address. So for this, I need first to add this IP address to be shown in here, or actually it's right there. So you can have it in here, but if you want, you can go on source and add this IP address, and it will show you here in the bar on the bottom. But in this case, it's right here, from 12.130.60.5. Alright, so next. Alright, next is the date range search. So the date range search can be used to limit searches to before, after, or between dates, and all date selector are in your current time zone. So remember, like here is that US, so it's in my current time zone. I mean, usually it's by default in US. So if you are in different time zone, you can change it in here and then apply this filtering. So let's see what the task has to do in here. So use Splunk to investigate the logs, use the date range option at the time picker and to narrow. So how many failed logs with the user TalkMod were there before May 15, 2020. So before, we have in the time picker, select the range before May 15, 2020. We go in here, and here is date range and before May 15. So apply, and the fields we are looking for failed password for TalkMod. So we need to look for failed in the events and TalkMod keywords. Failed TalkMod. Tomcat, sorry. Alright, so we got 254 events. Alright, how many times was there an SSHD session opened? So the range is between May 17th and May 23rd. We'll go change the range in here. So now we choose between and give it the date May 17 and May 23rd, and apply. And we look for SSHD session opened. So we look for this particular words. So you can see you got session, SSIG and opened in the events. And it asks us how many of them, right? How many times was. So 647. And next is the date and time range. So if you know that you need to look for a particular date and time range, you can go and pick up this in the time picker in here and give it a specific date and time range. So in our case, they ask us to look for the Googlebot between May 1st at 5 p.m. and May 4th by 8 a.m. So we go and select the date, time range, and we have May 17, and it's 17. Oops, May 1st. And it's 8 a.m. Apply the filter, and we look for Googlebot. So how many events we've got? 363. So now it asks what's the version of the Googlebot. So we can see it, it's in here, 2.1. Alright, how many times was category.screen loaded in April 29 between 14 and 14:30? So we need to look for the category.screen and time picker. We need the time, name and type. Date and time. So, it's not displaying me the time in here. Oh, okay, it's before, between. So, we have 20 and hour, it's 14. Apply the filter. So we got 26 events in here. Next, query using fields. So searching for terms is very useful, but most data coming into Splunk is structured with field names, which provides a much more powerful way to filter and transfer data based on specific metadata. So let's go and see. So common fields. All Splunk events ultimately have the following 5 fields assigned to them. Timestamps, which is the date and time of the event, host, where the event originates, source, Splunk input where the event was recorded, and source type, the Splunk metadata configuration for parsing these fields, and the index where Splunk has stored the event. So now we need to search for source type access combined W cookie for all time picker. And let's see. go. So field searching. So depending on the source type, events will have additional fields indicating their structured data. Yeah, like I was saying before, like if you have a different source type, those fields in here will be changed, like will be different fields. Or it can be the same too, like it will depend what data is inside this source types. Alright, so how many events have the source type access combined W cookie? So we have 131,645. How many events have the action value set to purchase? So we'll look for, actually you can look to action equal purchase. How many times has a purchase action had a referrer domain of HTTP, .google.com since May 18, 2020? So we need to go and first apply this time picker, date range, since, and it's May 18. And we need to look for how many times the purchase action. Okay, so we need to keep this action here, and the referrer, another field, we look for referrer domain field equal google.com. Alright, so we have 6 events. Alright, all fields view. Yeah, if you're not familiar with this, you can go to the Splunk Common Information Model and see how to look for this information in the fields. But like I showcased before, like if you click in here, it will give you all the fields, and you can filter in here by them if you want. And here, which one is the checked marked, it's on your selected fields. And if you expand this one, you'll have more information inside. You can see it has the type of report and all the sources available inside this like server. It contains that value in there. So you can click the arrow on the left to expand each field and see a summary of the values for it. Like I showed, like the value here is server and has the count of 6. And you can see it source. Have the source and it says the value. So let's see what the questions they provide us. So it says to pick the time for all time, and source type access combined cookie. So we have it in here, and for the action field it says to add the add to cart action. So action field is equal add to cart. And what else is there? Okay, it says to look at the vault fields box on the source results. Okay, so how many values are there for the file field? So we can click all fields and we'll look for the file. You can scroll and look where is file in here. I just go and type it in here, for me it's easy. And expand it in here and ask how many value fields. So here is the value of those fields, it's equals 11. So what is the event coverage percentage of the field product ID? So now it asks for a different field, which is product. Product ID, and the percentage of the event coverage is 95.68. What is the most common value of the user agent field? So user agent field, and most common value is this one, has the more frequently been in the fields. Oh, sorry. and how many events contain the URI path of search.do. So the next field we're looking for is URI path, and we'll look for the value of search.do, and we have 16 columns, right? It asks for the column, many events are. So we got 16 events in here. And that was the part 2 of Splunk, where we applied the filters and queries. So see you next video.